Ever wondered what's hidden deep in the Amazon? Far from the reach of modern life, some tribes have lived there for centuries, untouched by time. But what happens when these tribes, who fiercely protect their land and way of life, come face to face with outsiders? The answer might send chills down your spine. Number 1. The Kubo Tribe. In the dense, untouched jungles of Vale do Javari in Brazil, the Kubo Tribe lives in isolation, protecting their land fiercely. Known as the Clubbers because of the large wooden clubs they carry, the Kubo are a group of indigenous warriors with a reputation for violence, especially when it comes to keeping outsiders away. For them, staying isolated isn't just a choice. It's a way to defend themselves from the dangers of contact with the outside world. But why are scientists so worried about the Kubo? First, their history of violent encounters with outsiders is well known. In 2000, they made headlines when they killed 3 loggers who entered their land without permission. The message was clear: strangers are not welcome. Because of this, researchers are extremely cautious when approaching them. But violence isn't the only concern. The Kubo are also highly vulnerable to diseases from the outside world. Simple contact could be disastrous since they have no immunity to many common illnesses. That's why Brazil's Indigenous Affairs Agency, FUNAI, works hard to protect them from outside influences. There's a fine line between wanting to learn about their culture and risking their lives by making contact. On top of this, illegal logging and land encroachment are constant threats. As more trees are cut down, the outside world comes closer to the Kubo, increasing the chances of conflict. The more we learn about the Kubo, the more we understand why they are a tribe that truly concerns scientists. Number 2. The Matisse Tribe. Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives the Matisse Tribe, a group shaped by painful experiences with the outside world. Known for their incredible hunting skills and traditional farming methods, the Matisse live in the remote Vale do Javari indigenous territory. But their isolation couldn't protect them when outsiders first made contact between 1976 and 1978. This initial encounter brought devastation. Diseases against which the Matisse had no defenses swept through their community, wiping out many of their people. The impact was so severe that it left the tribe with a deep fear and mistrust of outsiders. For scientists, this historical trauma presents a real challenge. Studying the Matisse isn't just about learning their unique culture. It's about carefully approaching people who have suffered greatly due to past encounters. The risks are more than just emotional. The Matisse are still highly vulnerable to diseases. Even minor interactions could bring in new illnesses that could be disastrous. This constant danger worries researchers and conservationists, who must carefully balance the benefits of studying the tribe against the potential harm they could cause. Yet the Matisse aren't just victims, they're protectors of their culture. Their rituals and traditions run deep, and any intrusion by outsiders can provoke a defensive reaction. Preserving their way of life while satisfying scientific curiosity is a delicate task, full of ethical dilemmas. Additionally, the Matisse live in a sensitive ecosystem, and any disruption to this balance raises concern. For the Matisse, the past is always present, making them a tribe that fascinates but also unnerves those who seek to understand them. Number 3. The Zante Tribe. Moving to the eastern part of Mato Grosso state in Brazil, we find the Zante Tribe, known for their fierce history and deep connection to the savannas they call home. With around 30,000 members, the Zante are famous for resisting outside contact, especially during the 20th century. Their society is structured around 2 clans, Wawe and Poreza Ono, and their complex initiation rituals show a culture that is both rich and mysterious. What grabs scientists' attention is the Zavante's genetic heritage. In 2015, a study revealed something surprising. The Zante share genetic links with indigenous Australasian populations. This discovery suggests a migration path that separated from East Asian populations thousands of years ago, challenging what we know about Native American ancestry. The Zante might hold the key to uncovering new chapters in the story of human migration. But studying the Zante is no simple task. Their fierce independence and long-standing distrust of outsiders create huge barriers to research. The Zante have kept their distance for generations, making it hard for scientists to truly understand their culture and genetics. And it's not just about trust. The Zante are also battling for their land rights and against environmental destruction that threatens their way of life. Deforestation and agricultural expansion are closing in on their territory, making their fight for survival even more urgent. These challenges add another layer of difficulty for anyone trying to study them. For scientists, the Zante represents more than just a research opportunity. It highlights the ethical limits of scientific exploration. The Zavante's strong spirit and the secrets they hold continue to captivate and challenge those who try to learn more, making them one of the most intriguing tribes in the Amazon. Number 4. The Javaro. The Javaro, also known as the Shuar, are an indigenous group from the eastern slopes of the Andes in Ecuador and Peru. They are known for their fierce warrior culture and deep spiritual beliefs. Throughout history, the Javaro have resisted outsiders, including the Inca Empire and Spanish conquistadors. Their reputation for violence, particularly through headhunting, has made them both feared and fascinated. The Javaro are most famous for creating chances, or shrunken heads. This practice was not just about warfare, but was also a deeply spiritual ritual. The Javaro believed that taking an enemy's head would stop the spirit from seeking revenge and give the warrior strength and protection through a powerful force called Arutum. While this practice isn't common anymore, it still intrigues scientists and anthropologists. The Javaro have resisted modern influences, making them difficult to study. They are determined to keep their traditional ways, even as the modern world encroaches. This presents a challenge for researchers, who must respect the Javaro's desire for autonomy while recognizing the unique value of their culture. For scientists, the Javaro offers a rare opportunity to explore a culture deeply connected to its history and identity. Their traditions and beliefs provide valuable insights into different ways of understanding spirituality, warfare, and community. Number 5. The Sateremawe. The Sateremawe tribe lives deep in the Amazon rainforest of Brazil and is known for its intense initiation rites involving bullet ants. These rites are among the most painful in the world and are a test of strength and resilience for young men as they transition into adulthood. The ritual, known as Womat, requires participants to endure multiple stings from bullet ants, whose venom causes excruciating pain. This initiation is more than just a rite of passage. It symbolizes the tribe's unity and determination to preserve their heritage. Sateremawe's initiation rites have fascinated and alarmed many people. The pain endured during these rituals is seen as essential for surviving in the challenging environment of the Amazon. It also reinforces the tribe's collective identity and commitment to defending their ancestral lands from threats like illegal logging and land encroachment. These rites have become a powerful statement of resistance as the Sateremawe continue to face challenges that threaten their way of life. Aside from their famous rites, the Sateremawe are also known for their cultivation of guarana, a plant native to the Amazon that holds significant cultural and economic importance. The tribe's knowledge of the rainforest and its resources is vast, offering important lessons in sustainable living. For scientists, the Sateremawe is both fascinating and inspiring. Their traditions, rooted in pain and endurance, continue to define their identity and role in the Amazon. Their story is a testament to the incredible resilience of indigenous cultures in the face of adversity. Number 6. The Kawesa Tribe. The Kawesa Tribe, an uncontacted indigenous group in Brazil's Mato Grosso, lives in constant danger. Illegal logging, mining, and ranching are closing in on them, forcing the Kawesa to keep moving to stay safe. They are hunter-gatherers, living off the land, but the pressure from outsiders keeps them on the run, always one step ahead of those who want to exploit their land. Scientists and human rights advocates are extremely concerned about the Kawesa. Their isolation makes them very vulnerable to diseases that outsiders could bring, illnesses they have no immunity against. Even making contact could be deadly. The tribe is also at serious risk of extinction because of violent attacks on their land. Loggers and local politicians have often ignored or denied their existence, creating a dangerous situation where the Kawesa are hunted instead of protected. There are legal protections for the Kawase's territory, but these are often challenged or overturned in court, leaving their land exposed to exploitation. The Brazilian government has even investigated what they call genocide against the Kawesa, uncovering a disturbing pattern of violence and attempted enslavement. The Kawase's situation highlights the broader struggles faced by uncontacted scattered tribes in the Amazon and raises urgent concerns about their survival. Number 7. The Kinawa Tribe. The Kinawa, also known as the Huniquin, live along the Purus and Kuranja rivers in the Amazon. Their name means true humans, or people with traditions, and it reflects their deep connection to their culture and the natural world. The Kinawa are known for their spiritual practices, especially their use of ayahuasca and rapé, which are guided by the belief in Yuxin, a spirit that connects them to the forest. Scientists find the Kinawa both fascinating and concerning. On one hand, their isolation has helped them preserve their unique traditions, but on the other hand, it makes them vulnerable to diseases brought by outsiders. Deforestation and resource extraction in their territories also threaten their way of life. The Kinawa have a deep understanding of the Amazon ecosystem, and their knowledge is crucial for conservation. But if their way of life is disrupted, this knowledge could be lost forever. The Kinawa are known for fiercely defending their land. They have a history of resisting outside influence, sometimes even violently, to protect their territory. Their story is a powerful example of the strength of indigenous cultures and their ongoing fight to preserve their heritage. Number 8. The Shingu Tribes. The Shingu Tribes are a group of about 15 different ethnic groups living near the Shingu River in Brazil. These tribes, like the Kwikuro, Kamayura, and Kalapalo, have faced many challenges over the centuries, from diseases and slavery to modern development. Despite these hardships, they have managed to survive and even grow, thanks to the Shingu Indigenous Park, which was created in 1961 to protect their land. The Shingu tribes are remarkable for their ability to keep their traditions alive while adapting to the changing world. Their resilience offers important lessons about cultural survival. However, their way of life is threatened by deforestation, dam construction, and farming. The Belo Monte Dam, in particular, has changed the river's flow, affecting the environment and the tribe's connection to their land. Scientists are interested in the Shingu tribes not only for their culture, but also for their knowledge of environmental changes, which could help us understand and fight climate change. The Shingu's story is one of survival against all odds, and their knowledge is crucial in the battle to protect the environment. Number 9. The Surui Tribe. The Surui, also known as the Paita, live in the Brazilian Amazon near the border between Mato Grosso and Rondônia. They are known for combining their traditional ways with modern technology to protect their rainforest home. In 2015, a genetic study revealed something fascinating. The Surui, along with the Caritiana and Zante tribes, share ancient ties with indigenous groups from places like the Andaman Islands, New Guinea, and Australia. This connection likely comes from a group called Population Y that migrated to the Amazon thousands of years ago. The Surui first made significant contact with the outside world in 1969, which brought diseases that nearly wiped them out, reducing their population by almost 90%, but they have since rebounded, and today there are about 1,400 Surui. Under the leadership of Chief Almir Narayamoga Surui, the tribe has embraced technology to protect their land. They partnered with Google Earth to track illegal logging and mining using satellite images and smartphones. This data supports their forest carbon project, which helps fight climate change by storing carbon in the forest. In 2013, they became the first indigenous group in Brazil to sell carbon credits, marking a major achievement in their conservation efforts. The Surui's blend of tradition and technology makes them a model for other indigenous groups. Their ancient genetic links also offer valuable clues about the early migrations that shaped the Americas. Number 10. Tucano. The Tucano Tribe lives along the Valpe River, which flows through parts of Colombia and Brazil in the Amazon. What's interesting about the Tucano is how they've built a society around multiple languages. In their culture, men are expected to marry women who speak a different language. This practice, known as linguistic exogamy, has led to a community where several languages coexist, each holding an important place in their identity. The Tucano are also known for their amazing craftsmanship. They create beautiful baskets and body paintings that play a big role in their cultural and spiritual life. Their society is organized into clans, with rituals being a major part of their lives. They rely rely on swidden farming, hunting, and fishing, showing just how closely they are connected to the Amazon rainforest. Unfortunately, their way of life is under threat. Deforestation and the arrival of loggers and settlers are endangering their land. Scientists and conservationists are worried that if their habitat is lost, so too will their unique cultural practices and knowledge of the rainforest. Health is another major concern. Like many indigenous groups, the Tucano have limited immunity to diseases brought in by outsiders, which could lead to serious health crises. This raises important ethical questions for those working in the region. The Tucano's deep understanding of the Amazon's ecosystem is crucial for conservation efforts. Losing their culture could also mean losing valuable knowledge that helps protect the rainforest. Number 11. Kuna. The Kuna people, also known as the Guna, live along Panama's Caribbean coast and the San Blas Islands. While they're not considered one of the most dangerous tribes, their unique traditions and beliefs have drawn a lot of interest from researchers. One of the Kuna's most famous traditions is their textile art called molas. These are colorful, intricately designed panels that women sew into their blouses. The designs often feature animals, plants, and geometric patterns that have deep meanings in Kuna mythology. A particularly fascinating aspect of Kuna culture is their belief in soul loss. They think that spirits can steal a person's soul, causing illness or even death. Kuna shamans, known as Nelis, perform special rituals to retrieve the lost soul and heal the person. Anthropologists have studied these rituals, considering how they might help people cope with illness and loss. However, as the Kuna interact more with the outside world, there are concerns about the erosion of their culture. There's also the risk of outsiders misunderstanding or exploiting their practices. Preserving the Kuna's unique culture while respecting their traditions is a big challenge, especially as modern influences continue to reach them. Researchers are closely studying how the Kuna adapt to these changes, focusing on the resilience of their cultural identity. Number 12. Guarani. The Guarani Tribe is one of South America's most culturally important indigenous groups. They live mainly in Paraguay, but also in parts of Brazil, Argentina, and Bolivia. The Guarani have a deep connection to their land, a unique language, and traditional farming methods that have become an essential part of Paraguayan national identity. The Guarani language is one of Paraguay's official languages. Historically, the Guarani were expert farmers, growing crops like cassava, corn, and sweet potatoes. They lived in communal villages and practiced animistic beliefs, with shamans playing key roles in both spiritual and community life. During the 17th and 18th centuries, they fiercely resisted colonization, especially during the Jesuit missions, because they wanted to protect their culture and independence. Today, the Guarani face serious challenges, especially in Brazil, where much of their land has been taken over by ranchers and large agricultural businesses. This loss of territory has led to harsh living conditions, including widespread malnutrition and high suicide rates, particularly among young people. Researchers are very worried about these developments. The drastic changes in Guarani's traditional way of life have caused a health crisis, with the psychological impact of losing their land being particularly severe. The Guarani have always sought a land without evil, a place of peace and plenty, and losing their ancestral lands has had devastating effects on their community. The struggles of the Guarani highlight the broader issues of colonization, environmental destruction, and the ongoing fight for indigenous rights in the face of modern challenges. Number 13. The Kitua Tribe. The Kitua Tribe, mainly living in the Ecuadorian Amazon, is one of the largest indigenous groups in the region. They have a deep connection to their land and hold on to rich cultural traditions. Their knowledge of medicinal plants, which they've used for generations, is especially remarkable and has helped their communities survive over time. Traditionally, the Kitua people farm, hunt, and gather. They grow crops like yucca, bananas, coffee, and cocoa. Their community is organized into family groups called islas, which share a common ancestry and land, showing their strong sense of togetherness. However, scientists are worried about the Kitua because of the growing threats they face from modernization, deforestation, and the oil industry moving into their lands. These pressures not only threaten their way of life, life, but also the Amazon's rich biodiversity, which they have protected through sustainable practices. The Kichwa's knowledge of medicinal plants is valuable to researchers searching for new medicines, but this knowledge could be lost as their culture is increasingly under threat. The Kichwa's fight for land rights and their resistance to outside influences have made them a key focus in studies on indigenous rights and environmental conservation. Their ability to adapt while preserving their cultural identity amid these pressures is both inspiring and concerning to scientists who recognize the delicate balance between preserving tradition and dealing with the forces of globalization. Number 14. The Kofan. The Kofan people, native to the Amazon rainforest in Ecuador and Colombia, are a small but determined tribe with around 2,100 members. They have managed to protect nearly 1 million acres of their ancestral land, which is rich in biodiversity. This achievement has amazed scientists who see the Kofan as a leading example of indigenous-led conservation. Despite their small numbers, the Kofan have fought hard to keep outsiders off their land. They combine traditional knowledge with modern conservation methods, using community park guards and long-term plans to protect their forests from deforestation and illegal wildlife hunting. Their use of yage or ayahuasca in religious practices shows their deep spiritual bond with the forest, further driving their commitment to its protection. The Kofan's success in managing their land even surpasses some national parks, surprising researchers who may have underestimated indigenous stewardship. However, they still face constant challenges from illegal activities and resource exploitation. The Kofan's story shows the world how vital indigenous people are in protecting our planet's natural treasures. Their success forces scientists to rethink traditional conservation methods and appreciate the value of indigenous leadership in environmental protection. Number 15. The Ticuna. The Tucano Tribe, one of the largest indigenous groups in the Brazilian Amazon, has a rich cultural history and a strong spirit of resistance. With over 57,000 members living along the Amazon and Solimões rivers in Brazil, Colombia, and Peru, the Ticuna have kept their language and traditions alive despite many outside threats over the centuries. The Ticuna are known for their colorful ceremonies, including mask making, body painting, and bark cloth costumes, all deeply connected to their spiritual beliefs. Shamans play a key role in their society, acting as healers and spiritual guides. Over the years, the Ticuna have faced many challenges, from colonization and rubber barons to modern-day issues like illegal logging and missionary activity. But through it all, they have resisted and maintained their independence and cultural identity. Economically, the Ticuna have adapted by becoming skilled traders, exchanging goods like animal hides and canoes for money and other products. This has allowed them to integrate into the broader economy while still holding on to their traditions. Despite these changes, the Ticuna have remained genetically unique, partly due to their historical isolation and practice of marrying within their group. The Ticuna's story does not worry scientists, but it does capture their interest. The Ticuna's resilience, cultural richness, and ability to balance tradition with modernity offer valuable lessons on how indigenous cultures can survive and thrive in a rapidly changing world. Number 16. The Kawesa. The Kawesa are a small indigenous group from Chilean Patagonia. Once a thriving seafaring people, they used canoes to navigate the fjords of southern Chile, living off the land and sea in one of the world's harshest environments. Today, only a few full-blooded Kawesa remain, and with them, their unique culture and knowledge are on the brink of extinction. Scientists are worried about losing Kawesa's traditional knowledge, which has been passed down through generations. This knowledge not only helped them survive in tough conditions, but also offered valuable lessons in living sustainably within fragile ecosystems. Sadly, their history includes dark chapters, like being displayed in European human zoos during the 19th century. This painful past highlights the need for ethical and respectful treatment of indigenous people. Now, the Kawesa faces new threats, such as industrial activities like salmon farming, which are invading their ancestral lands and harming local ecosystems. The possible loss of their language and identity adds to the urgency to preserve their culture. Linguists and anthropologists are racing against time to document and protect what's left. The Kawesas' fight for survival is a powerful reminder of how fragile indigenous cultures can be in the face of modern pressures. Their story underscores the need for more efforts to protect not only the people, but also the precious knowledge and traditions that are quickly disappearing. Number 17. The AWA Tribe. Deep in the eastern Amazon rainforest of Brazil, the AWA Tribe is one of the most endangered indigenous groups on the planet. With only about 350 members left and around 100 still uncontacted, their way of life is constantly under threat. The AWA used to live a nomadic lifestyle, moving from place to escape European settlers and the destruction of their land by logging and agriculture. They rely on the forest for everything. Hunting and gathering is how they survive, but the situation is dire. Illegal logging and land invasions have caused massive deforestation, leaving the AWA vulnerable to violence. Entire families have been killed by loggers and settlers, a tragic reality they face every day. This destruction doesn't just threaten their culture, it puts their very existence at risk, especially for the uncontacted members who could easily die from diseases brought by outsiders. Scientists and conservationists are very worried about the AWA. Saving them isn't just about human rights, it's also about protecting the Amazon's biodiversity. The AWA have deep knowledge of their environment, passed down through generations. If they disappear, we lose that knowledge, and the forest could suffer too. Their survival is crucial for both their people and the planet. Number 18. The Nukak Tribe. In the Colombian Amazon, the Nukak Tribe, also known as the Nukak Maku, once thrived in isolation. But when they first made contact with the outside world in 1988, everything changed. Diseases like malaria, measles, and respiratory infections, to which they had no immunity, devastated them, wiping out nearly half of their population. Now, the Nukak's cultural identity is hanging by a thread. The rapid decline in their numbers has severely disrupted their way of life, making it hard to pass down their traditions. Scientists are alarmed at the potential loss of this unique culture, which is an important part of human diversity. On top of this, the Nukak's land is under constant threat from illegal coca farming and armed conflicts involving guerrillas and paramilitary groups. These dangers force the Nukak to leave their ancestral lands, disrupting their nomadic lifestyle and taking away their independence. The psychological toll has been immense, so much so that their leader, Mao Bei, took his own life in 2006, overwhelmed by despair. The Nukak's fight for survival is not just physical, but deeply emotional, showing how external pressures can devastate indigenous communities. Number 19. The Pxo. The Pxo people live in southern Bahia, Brazil, and are a strong and resilient indigenous tribe. There are about 1,800 Pxo people spread across 19 villages. For centuries, they have fought to protect their ancestral lands, which have been under threat ever since the Portuguese arrived in the 16th century. The Pxo were among the first tribes to meet European colonizers, and over time, they lost most of their original land, leaving them with only small pieces of what they once had. Despite these challenges, the Pxo have held on to their culture. They continue to speak their native language, Pxo, along with Portuguese. Their connection to the land is a key part of their identity and drives their ongoing fight against ranchers, farmers, and developers who want to take over their territory. One of their boldest moves has been to reoccupy parts of their traditional land, including areas in the Monte Pascoal National Park. This has led to violent confrontations with authorities and landowners, showing just how intense the battle over land rights in Brazil is. Recently, the violence against the Pxo has worsened, with several young members of the tribe being killed in clashes linked to powerful economic interests. These tragic deaths highlight the dangerous situation faced by indigenous communities in Brazil as they fight for their rights. The Pxo's struggle is a clear example of the broader challenges faced by indigenous tribes in Brazil. Their courage and determination in the face of violence and land loss show their deep commitment to preserving their land, culture, and way of life. Number 20. The Yanami. The Yanami Tribe, with about 35,000 people, is one of the largest indigenous groups in the Amazon rainforest, living in both Brazil and Venezuela. The Yanami have a culture. What would you do if you came face to face with one of these mysterious tribes? Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the unknown.